Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, again, we're going to start this off a little bit different. I'm going to tell you about the stuff that I felt the most interesting to the stuff that I was just like, okay, yeah, that's cool too. And starting with Dex. The reason why I put this one at the top is because we don't really know much about Dex. He's been on the show for about like maybe a year and change, and we still don't really know much about him until today. We found out that he's not really a holiday kind of guy. Christmas trees and stuff like that. And it has a lot to do with his upbringing. Specifically, the abuse that he got from his brothers, and watching his mom be constantly hurt by his POS of a dad who constantly cheated on her. And just another reason why the minute that he turned 18, he couldn't wait to get the hell up out that house. I do hope that one day maybe they'll sit there and bring in a brother or something like that, and that'd be kind of interesting to see. But it was something, you know. I wish we would get a little bit more, but I'll sit there and take it. Now, Curtis is not there telling Marshall about the experimental treatment that, could help regain his legs. And of course, Marshall's kind of apprehensive about it. And at one point, he was sitting there thinking that Portia was pushing him into this. I'm just like, where did you get that from? I mean, yeah, she gave him the research and stuff like that, but like, Curtis. Curtis is the type of person, he doesn't get pushed to doing something unless he wants to do it. He's excited and he's scared. But I don't think he's scared because of all the risk factors. I think he's scared because if it doesn't work, then he got his hopes up. Um, Tracy's back, acting in her usual manner, coming in the house, being like, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. The Christmas tree is not aligned right. Where's the present?" Well, to be fair, um, she was like, "Where's the presents at?" Like, it's kind of depressing without that they're having presents, and that's something I will agree with. Leo came in for like a good 5 seconds, sit there and remind Tracy that she doesn't really do fun, like she doesn't know what that is. Um, they're talking more about Luke and his affairs, and honestly, I'm going to be honest. I feel like maybe if they would have actually showed Luke's death, I would care a little bit more. But a lot of this stuff just goes in my head at this point. Now she does find out that Ned is back to being himself, and she's kind of annoyed by it because she's like, "Why did nobody not tell her?" And I get that Olivia was like, "Well, I thought that your son would sit there and call you," but I'm like, "Okay, did you sit there and ask him to call you?" Like, I understand where she was coming from on that level. Um, Tracy, Lois, and Olivia also find out that Brooklyn and Chase are getting married, and so they're overjoyed by it. Violet, Violet was kind of extra in this episode. She wanted to know when was the wedding, what time was the wedding, can I sing, this, that, and the third. It's like she started asking like a bunch of questions. After a while, it's like, yeah, this is getting a little bit too much. Finn is still saddened by the fact that you know this is going to practically be Gregory's last Christmas, and I gotta sit there and say, for the most part, I guess he, as a character, because he was more of a supporting character, and I guess he did his thing. 1 second. I guess he had a good run for the most part. Um, I do feel like maybe the plan was to sit there and pair him up with Alexis, and somewhere along the line that just got lost in translation. Um, yeah, so he's still kind of sad about his dad. As far as the ALS really starting to get to him. Now, Dante and Sam has had the same conversation for like maybe 2 or 3 days about what to do with this evidence. And basically, he's like, I'm just going to do it by myself. They're most likely going to be looking for Anna. They're not going to be looking for me. Okay, but what if they are? What if they are? Wouldn't it be better for him to sit there and go with Anna, at least have some backup, instead of just doing it by yourself? I don't. I feel like that's just a. I feel like that's just a recipe for disaster. And especially as a cop, it's like you don't go into situations if you can help it. By yourself. You go with backup. I don't really understand why he feels need to sit there and do that without backup. On top of that, bro, you got a family. This isn't a case where you're a cop and you gotta sit there and do this. Like certain missions, you gotta sit there and kind of weigh the pros and the cons if you really can. And this isn't really police work. This is something you're doing to help a friend, which is fine. But you got a family, you got kids, you got to move a little bit differently. So I don't understand why he's just taking this big risk for. I know he has this sense of justice, like, oh, the WSB needs to be held accountable. Cool. Still not getting why you're going by yourself. This just seems pretty stupid. And Nina and Sonny. So apparently, Nina didn't really give Wiley a certain amount of gifts or whatever. And Sonny is like, why is that? And Nina's like, I don't want to sit there and push. So Sonny is ready ready to sit there and call Michael, and Nina gets all petrified, like, no, 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 don't do it. I don't want to sit there and push. At this point, I'm just like, bro, why don't you just sit there and tell the damn truth? I feel like that's so exhausting. She's going through so much hoops and everything like that to try to keep a secret. That can wind up coming out anyway, even if he doesn't say anything. That's the part that's just so stupid at this point. It's like even if Michael doesn't say anything, what are you gonna do about Ned? Did you forget that Ned also knows about what you did? What's to stop him from Cynthia spilling the beans? She's so worried. In particular in this episode, she's so worried about what Michael's gonna sit there and do. That she just forgot that Ned was like, no, I'm not gonna do anything today. But your time is coming. I mean, it's definitely interesting and kind of laughable that she's going through all these hoops and everything for something that she, in a lot of ways, caused. But at some point, you need to sit there and take the power away from them because this is just getting ridiculous now at this point. I don't know. For the most part, I feel like that's about it. There could have been something else that went on in this episode, and I might have just kind of blanked out. All right. So these last couple of episodes have been filler for the most part because they're doing a I don't know, a holiday theme or something like that. It's not working. But the thing is that, and I said this in my last stream, they have good stories coming, right? They got the Blackman stuff, they got the Nina stuff. You don't know who's gonna sit there and wind up ratting her out. Um, and this stuff seems like it's actually gonna be pretty interesting. So they got good stuff in the works, especially with Anna and I don't know how long they're gonna do Valentine for and Sonny, and of course you got Curtis, this new trial and everything like that. So the point is you got a lot of good stories that they're setting up, right? So that's a good thing. It's getting to this point that's the problem. You know, I know that some people always sit there and think that I'm being super negative or hypercritical of General Hospital, right? I'm not super negative. I don't know where that comes from. But the hypercritical part, I'm hypercritical of it. I've been watching the show since high school. It's the one that I love the most. Like, yes, let's sit there and talk about, oh, well, this episode of Days was better than GH. It was. But I've seen GH in its heyday. When I started watching it in the year 2000. And even like I said, right now, they got some really good stuff going on. So I can't wait to sit there and see it. We all know that these are filler episodes to get us to those points eventually. Now, I did sit there and see the fact that they got Leslie Charles coming back in the promos. I saw it this morning. I know a lot of people are super happy about it. That's cool. My whole thing is like, as long as they give her a good story, I'm totally fine with it. I just see my whole thing is, how do I sit there and say this in a way that's I'm gonna be dickish regardless, but as much as I love GH, I feel like there's times where it's like the bar is so low that it's like the bare minimum is seen as super exciting. One of my favorite time villains on General Hospital is Cherry Jacks. Also, it's Cherry Jacks. I think I also like the actor as well. Jerry Jacks. If Jerry Jacks came in and he didn't have an actual good story, I wouldn't care. And I love General Jack. I love Jerry Jacks. I love the actor. Um, he's also one of my favorite villains on the show called The Original. So in general, I love the actor. But if they just had him come on just for the sake of coming on, I really wouldn't care. You know? I know a lot of people like these characters, like Leslie Charles, Monica, and Lois. But for me, Lois hasn't really done anything that has been impressed with. She's fan service, and that's great, but kind of need you to do more than just fan service. And I understand, blah, 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 blah. Everyone can be front and burner, but please come in with a good and interesting story. Give her something to do that will be interesting. Because I haven't done that. People are praising her like there's no tomorrow, and that's cool. But for me, it doesn't work. Like I said, Leslie Charles come back in, and a lot of people are really happy about it. I'm happy that the actor seems like they're doing a lot better. I know they did have some sort of accident or whatever, so I'm happy on that front, and I hope that they give her a good story. Now, the last thing I will sit there and say, because I was going to make like a separate video about it, and I decided really not to because there's not really much to say about it, and it's not even that much of a big super big deal about it. And that is about the actors that play Brooklyn and Chase. So I've had this over the weekend, and I just give my quick opinion, my quick thoughts about it. About them not doing any love scenes because of boundaries, and they're married, and they got kids, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I don't think it's the worst thing possible, like that I heard, but I find it kind of stupid. Actually, no, there's no kind. I actually find it pretty stupid. At the end of the day, you're an actor, right? And although for me personally, I don't need to sit there and see love scenes because I find them to be, well, to be honest, very goofy. Okay? I find them to be some of the most goofiest, laughable scenes possible. Um, they're just funny, and to be honest, I do find them unnecessary in general. Like, I really do. But they've been a staple for soap operas and just TV shows for as long as I can remember. So you got these characters that are going to be married, and you're telling me that they're not going to do a love scene? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's acting, you know. And then when is it going to like? Are you even going to sit there and do kissing scenes? It, I don't know. Part of me just feels like if you can't sit and granted, they're great actors, so I don't think it's like, well, they can't do that, they shouldn't be on. But it's just like, I don't know. I find it to be kind of stupid, to be honest. I really do. That's just my personal opinion. I find it to be kind of dumb. There's a thing where she's sitting there talking about, her kids are gonna one day discover the internet, and I'm like, bro, you're not doing OF content. You're doing a love scene in a soap opera. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't. Anyway, that's what I really got about that. So if I forgot anything, you know what to do. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born and Beautiful, and Young and the Restless. With that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.